Much for taking the time out to speak to us today, all the way from Wales, which is really lovely because I've been to Wales a couple of times on holiday and absolutely love it. So it's great to make this connection between Luton and Wales, inshallah. So I guess we can kind of maybe delve straight in. So obviously you've got an amazing kind of biography, that an introduction that I read just now. What inspired you to follow a creative career and become a multidisciplinary artist?
I think for myself, I always loved colour, and I always loved kind of, Islamic calligraphy, tiling, Islamic architecture in mosques and things like that. And I was always intrigued and, inspired that we had such a rich heritage of art, within our kind of religion and also our culture, in terms of traditional clothing and the embroidery stitches and stuff like that we have. And for me, it was fun. It made me feel so good. I felt so happy when I created something, whether it was a drawing, whether it was making something out of fabric, or, one of my kind of earliest memories of me being creative is actually making little pots from the wet clay when it rained when we were living in Pakistan, and me and my friends would get together and have little tea parties where we would make our pots and our cups and our plates from the wet clay that we picked up from the earth. So yeah, that was really exciting, and for me it was just having that fun, just going with the flow, following my ideas, inspirations that came.
Yeah. Oh, I love what you're saying, both about kind of colour and fun, and actually how important that is, because I think sometimes I don't know why, maybe sometimes we become, and I guess it's because of the world around us. Sometimes, there's scary things, and there's a lot of doom and gloom, and it's so important that we're able to, I guess, harness our creativity and kind of, I guess, encapsulate that colour and fun that you said. But I love also the idea of being so connected to the earth, like literally in terms of you kind of making clay pots and things. I think it's amazing. So how is it something then, I guess, would you say creativity has always been part of your childhood and it's kind of developed as you've grown, you've kind of into adulthood?
I think it was, but at that point, when you're a child, you don't know, you're just playing. But the thing was, I think for a very long time, we learn how to draw, we learn how to use color and draw some kind of basic shapes and things like that. But then I felt like it wasn't really nurtured because, people around me were not creative. I'm probably like the only, the second person actually in my family who's into the creative field. But me as being the woman, I'm probably the only one. And I think it's something that everybody has inside them, and it's how you go about opening that up inside you and being courageous enough to explore. And if you're curious, I think creativity has a lot to do with being curious. Okay, so if I take, for example, a material, if I take a ball of clay, what can I do with this? And I think it was my art tutor at university who made me realize that I actually had a gift for creativity. And before that, I was just thought, I'm just normal like any other girl, any other woman, being brought up in Wales, trying to find my feet, find out who I am. And I think it was him that made me realize that, oh my God, Sam, you have a gift for creativity. I can put anything in front of you and you can make something out of it. And I think for somebody to acknowledge that and remind me that, this is something you have, it's in you. So everybody has creativity within them. It's how that is nurtured and nourished, whether it's by our caregiver, people around us, our teachers in school, people that we meet at university, people that we meet in different places. It's really important actually to encourage each other. When somebody's got an idea, oh, I love making clothes, or I love making cushions, go for it, make more. I want to see your work, be curious about other people's work. And I think with young people, they need more support than ever before. And I think that's what's really made me passionate about empowering young women to get creative, is because I didn't have that role model. I did not have that mentor from my own community that looked like me, that knew the challenges I faced, to navigate, that journey. So I guess in one way, this is why I'm here, trying to do, or inshallah, whatever I am meant to do for this community and for the wider community, also for women, for young girls, because creativity helped me to feel empowered. You know, it made me feel so powerful that people actually like my artwork. They like my street art. They liked my singing, you know, like who would have thought? Like, you know, so it really made me feel, and also as part of like my personal development journey, to realize who I actually am as a person, as a woman, as you know, as a woman from a South Asian background with such rich cultural heritage, but also there's lots of things that we have to navigate through that a lot of other people don't have to navigate through as a creative person, trying to kind of pave a path for themselves and hopefully for others to be inspired by it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think what you said there is so important about this idea of nurturing, isn't it? So whether it does, if we are maybe lucky enough to get that from a young age through maybe our parents or, you know, teachers, you're right, it really kind of puts you in, it gets you onto that trajectory, doesn't it? I guess somehow. And yeah, I mean, I completely echo what you're saying in terms of young people, especially, you know, the fact that we are coming from South Asian backgrounds where, you know, traditionally the academic route of, you know, medicine or accountancy, or, you know, we have those fields that, you know, we've kind of haven't gone through that kind of stage of having a lot of focus on that. But I think it is really positive to see more young people showing more interest, and then, you know, and then I guess artists such as yourself really trying to create that empowerment, you know, within people. And again, that point about curiosity, you know, absolutely, like showing solidarity with one another. I mean, before even before the show, we were obviously talking about that idea of sisterhood and how important it is to be able to kind of share that love and growth with each other, I guess. And, you know, that really is a powerful thing in itself. And then, and being curious about our own selves. And, you know, again, just pointing to the fact that you said that we all have creativity within us. So, you know, how I guess we can build platforms and spaces to, you know, really recognize that, I think is, you know, it's amazing, and so much potential there as well. Now, obviously, this is the book club show, so I must ask you something about books, and I am actually really interested to know what were some of the stories and books that you enjoyed when you were younger that maybe has kind of led to the person you are today, perhaps?
I loved Enid Blyton books. So the famous 5, I've read them all, and I think they were quite significant in developing my imagination to be able to visualize what I wanted to create later on. I think it definitely had quite an impact. And, you know, what are we told in Islam? First thing is read, you know, like read. And it's so important nowadays, especially, you know, with social media, YouTube, Instagram, that we need to nurture that culture within our homes, within our lifestyle, to sit together and read books. You know, it's one of, like, even if you look at some of the richest people in the world, and studies have shown that they read at least 45 minutes every single day. And I tell this to my boys also. I'm like, you know, you guys want to be successful, you have to take knowledge, and it's okay, you know, you can watch it in a video format, but I think how when you read someone else's story and how you can visualize with your own mind is such a beautiful way of developing your imagination to create, to think of ideas, to be innovative, rather than visually seeing someone's idea, because it's so easy to replicate that. So Enid Blyton was definitely one of my really, like, oh my God, I couldn't put the book down. I would literally stay up late night under my duvet, one of those kind of bookworms, and try and finish off. And, you know, it was just so captivating for me. Jacqueline Wilson was another one. I loved her stories. It was quite funny, quite, you know, dynamic, quite energetic. Like, I think it kind of went with my personality, so I could really relate to the character in the book. And who else? It was the Harry Potter series. I mean, who doesn't love a bit of fantasy and a bit of magic?
You're a Harry Potter fan.
I am a Harry Potter fan. Okay, I read them all. And I think another one about, it's called The Subtle Knife by Philip Pullman.
Oh, I see.
I read it when it came out. It was the first book I ever bought. And I know he's written other books in the trilogy series, which went a little bit out of control. But the subtle life, how he's able to cut little, you know, kind of windows and travel into other places. I thought that was just so fascinating, and loved that.
Yeah, amazing.
Yeah.
No, I love that. It's such a great kind of kind of spectrum of books and reading. I think is really lovely, and like you said, I guess that's what it is. It is about nurturing that imagination, isn't it? And then yeah, it kind of gives you. I mean, that's the best thing I love about books, whether you know, as a child or even as an adult, the way it does transport you to different worlds, or you know, different experiences. And you know, we always hope that, I guess, to some extent, you know, creates like empathy as well. And I mean, I know nowadays, obviously, some of the books that from when we were younger, slightly problematic now the more you look into them, but I think that's what's really great about the publishing industry, even though there's a lot of still challenges for authors of color and writers of color. Again, it's great to see that, you know, we have more, you know, writers who are winning awards and really getting our stories out, which haven't been maybe, you know, championed as much. But then kind of coming back to your own artistic practice, obviously you, I guess I can say the focus is on Mindful Henna, which is basically your, I guess, I'm trying to think, like your specialty. I don't know what, you know, kind of, it's something I hadn't come across. Like obviously henna is a massive part of, you know, my upbringing, as a lot of us as South Asian Muslim women, you know, of course, every time it's Eid, it's like, right, you know, or weddings, and, you know, it's such a huge part of our lives, I guess, in some aspect. But I never thought about it with the view of mindfulness. Like it's not something occurred to me, even though it makes so much sense. It's because as soon as we connected, I was like, yeah, of course, you know. But I guess for our listeners, though, what exactly does this mean? What does it entail? And obviously, I'm really excited that you're going to be coming to Luton on the 24th of February, inshallah, to do a mindful henna workshop. So I guess the two parts of this question: what exactly is it? What do you mean by it? And also, what would you hope participants take away from attending like one of your workshops?
So Mindful Henna is all about being in the present moment. So we use the henna cone as a tool to help us be present, and which is to switch off our mind and focus on a certain shape or a pattern at that moment. And it also makes you aware of where your mind actually is. You know, where are you at? Are you thinking about what you're going to cook for dinner tonight? You know, are you thinking about what happened a week ago or a month ago when you're, you know, sat with yourself? And for me, the whole concept came about when I became a new mum. And, you know, you have your baby, and before childbirth, your body is, you know, you're really healthy looking, you're a certain shape, just how everybody else wants you to look. And lo and behold, after this baby, my body just looks so different. And it really helped my, you know, like it really affected my confidence in who I was, how, you know, I was so self-conscious of what people would think, like, you know, I've put on this baby weight and how am I going to lose it? And, you know, so my confidence, it really affected it. And my self-esteem went quite low as well with that. But then I, you know, as time went on and I went on a healing journey of like, okay, why am I feeling like this? You know, what's the reason? Is it because I'm trying to be what other people want me to be or look like? And then during that time, alhamdulillah, you know, I've been doing henna since I was about 7 or 8 years old on my mum, because I'm the only girl in the family. So we made like beautiful memories of, you know, connecting before Eid, for, you know, for weddings and things like that. But then for me, every time I picked up a henna cone and started drawing, it made me feel beautiful. So the inner critic, the negative mind chatter just went quiet. And I felt beautiful, and, you know, it just made me feel so good. And I could accept myself in the shape that I was, you know. I was a breastfeeding young first-time mum, and I could accept myself. And I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. Like, I feel so good doing henna on me. And this is not for a party or a wedding or for, you know, to show someone else. This is for me. So it allowed me to discover mindfulness. And this was years back now, before even mindfulness came about and people started talking about it. And I wanted to share that love, you know, that self-love journey of, you know, accepting myself for who I was and how I am, the shape I am, and the person I am. Because, you know, if you meet someone, it's not about how they look or what they wear. It's actually how they make you feel in their presence. It's their energy. It's that, how they communicate with you, how they show that love and respect to you, that you like that person, no matter how good looking they are or what shape or size they are. And for me, I wanted to just, share that love of henna, share that love that you are lovable, no matter who you are, how you look, what you wear, because it's all more about what you are on the inside that matters. And that's what people feel when you connect to someone. So it also, during our mindful henna sessions, we get the participants to do mindful breathing, which is to be conscious of how they breathe. So what normally happens when someone's anxious, the muscles around the airwaves tighten. So they will only do shallow breathing, which is kind of up to the neck, or maybe, kind of up to the lungs. They will not deep breathe into the belly. And the diaphragm will not kind of, do what it needs to do. So during the sessions, what we do is we get them to connect to their breath and be really mindful. And even in the session I did last week, I had women tell me, oh my God, I can't believe I didn't know I was breathing like this. So first of all, we connect them to their breath and how they are breathing, because that, the after effect of that is they are more relaxed and present and aware of how they are breathing. And scientifically, that changes their state from going into survival into a sense of safety when we deep breathe into our belly. So we teach some of these techniques and tools to our women and young girls on how to relax their nervous system and how to self-regulate through that creative experience of creating henna patterns. We also do a meditation with the breath work where they connect to their heart space and their womb space, because those two spaces, spiritually, physically, and emotionally, are quite sacred and important parts of a woman or a young girl. So we get them to actually physically connect between the heart space and the womb space, because, a womb space is sacred because it's a space of creativity where life is created, but also that's where our creative energy comes from. And for young girls, it's even more so important for them to not have that sense of shame of connecting and celebrating their bodies as Muslim women. Because unfortunately in our culture, we're not taught that. We're not encouraged to love our bodies and look after and be proud of, how Allah has created us. Modesty is beautiful, mashallah. Alhamdulillah, I do wear the hijab myself, and I am so proud of the fact that I wear it. I wear it with such honor, that I'm honored that Allah chose me to wear the hijab and look visibly like a Muslim woman. And it's not easy for everybody. So, I think the journey is to get them thinking about how they're breathing, how their nervous system is during that moment in time they are with me. And also, if issues and things come up, and the beautiful conversations we have had in our mindful henna sessions are absolutely incredible. How people just come and talk about, their problems and whatever they're going through. And then the sisters will connect, mashallah, and they will talk and give each other advice and say, no, you can do this, you can solve this. And that sense of sisterhood that is created within mindful henna sessions, because they are relaxed after the deep breathing, the meditation, they are connected to their heart space and body, is absolutely beautiful. Like, every person that has come to our mindful henna sessions has left feeling nourished, energized, happy, smiling, and they're like, Sam, when is the next one? When are you going to do the next one for us? So alhamdulillah, something's working, I guess.
No, I mean, like, wow, Sam could listen to you like all day. I mean, you just absolute gem after gem after gem. And I think it's fun, it's so lovely that you're able to, kind of enable that space for other women. And, just listening to you talking, and I realized how much I was now concentrating on my own breathing. It's like, you're right, it's absolutely true. I mean, how many of us just go throughout the day, almost, I guess, in some aspect of survival mode, right? Because we're in an age now, very different to our grandparents' generation, and even before, where we're working mums and we've got these extra external pressures and responsibilities, and we're kind of just battling through the day sometimes, right? And actually, at what point do we really stop and say, no, I need to make time for myself? And and it's so beautiful, because that doesn't require this idea that you've got to spend money and do this and whatever. You're obviously talking about how we feel about our bodies, and how many women maybe feel pressured to to kind of invest their money into like these, whatever, you know, it could be whatever. I'm not necessarily saying that that's like a bad thing. I'm you know, it's not a form of judgment, but actually it can start off with something as simple as what you're saying, just being present and feeling present, and that self-acceptance. Yeah, it has to start, I guess, within the core of our own being. And I think the way then you're using obviously creativity, but specifically henna to do that, because again, henna, or you know, the feeling of it on the skin, I guess, is a really big part of, you know, what you're saying. And again, it's not something I really thought about, and it is making me think the times my daughter really loves doing mendi, you know, she loves doing henna on me, and I'm always like, oh no. When she was younger, it was like, and I was like, it doesn't matter, she's being creative, and I want her to kind of, you know, and then, but yeah, even in terms of bonding, how lovely is that, you know, for women to be doing henna on each other and that kind of stuff as well. So, you know, yeah, I mean, I kind of, everything you're saying really, really resonates. So can you, just maybe elaborate a little bit more in terms of like, why specifically henna then? I mean, obviously I've kind of given my own perspective. It could be any sort of mark making, but yeah, what is specifically, I guess, about henna?
So yeah, one aspect of it is the cultural heritage, and how for henna it always meant more to me than just for, you know, Eid or celebration. For me, it was a form of healing. Healing from, you know, postnatal depression after my firstborn. And it really kind of, you know, I really went on that journey of like looking deeper into it. Like even for me, I was like, why am I choosing henna? Why is henna choosing me? You know, am I choosing henna or is henna choosing me? And then I looked at the medicinal effects of how it's an anti-inflammatory. So it reduces inflammation in the body. There's also a hadith where the Prophet ﷺ has asked a man, he had a pain in his leg, and he ﷺ said to go and apply henna, because it takes away pain. It's very good for headaches, people suffering from migraines, very good for people with high blood pressure because of the essential oils that are in there. They help you to relax your nerves. So there's so many different medicinal and spiritually as well, you know, through my own research into why henna, is that henna is used as a form of protection also. So when we draw kind of on our hands and our feet, it's a form of protection in some cultures, specifically the Moroccan culture, you know, in the Berber Amazigh tribe, where I actually have gone and visited and bought henna and actually did some workshops out there with them as well. It was incredible of how they even do henna on like the night of power in Ramadan. They will have a henna ceremony the night before to get ready for this beautiful night that, you know, we search in the last 10 days of Ramadan. And just to see, you know, how it's been such an important part of our history, even before. So they found henna on Egyptian mummies that were 9,000 years old. And they use that because, you know, in the hotter climates, it draws out heat from your body. So henna is, you know, and I'm hoping in the near future, I shall be doing some medicinal research with a researcher into the medicinal effects of henna. And see where that journey takes me, because I think henna is definitely more than just decoration on the skin. There's a lot more there that needs to be discovered still.
Yeah, for sure.
And hopefully shared with the wider community of, you know, as an alternative form of, you know, skin healing from different ailments and things like that. So
no, absolutely. So important. It's such a deep insight, which, you know, is so good to be kind of aware of. So we are heading over to a break at the moment, but we will be back in a few moments to carry on our conversation with Sam Hussain on Mindful Henna. So we'll be back in a few moments. Assalamu alaikum.
This program will continue after the break. Continue listening to Inspire FM. Inspire FM.
Inspire 105.1 FM.
आप सुन रहे हैं इंस्पायर FM 105.1। मैं हूं वसीम बादामी।
Luton's most luxurious venue for Asian weddings is now bigger and better than ever before. With 2 venues to choose from, Venue Central can provide the ultimate setting for your wedding. 2 huge venues, 1 high standard, right in the centre of Luton. Visit us online today at venuecentral.co.uk or call us now on 01582 451 767. Venue Central, affordable luxury in a central location.
This Ramadan, let's bring the heart of our community into the spotlight. Got a dish that's the talk of the table, a recipe passed down for generations, or maybe a creative twist on a classic? Inspire FM wants to feature you in our special Ramadan cooking show. We're recording now to air your culinary masterpiece this Ramadan. Imagine your dish inspiring thousands as we share the flavors that bring us together during this special month. Don't wait. Spots are limited. Drop us a message today at info@inspirefm.org and let's set up your recording session before Ramadan begins. Cook together and make this Ramadan unforgettable.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi. This is your brother Islam Yasir Qadi. I'm visiting Luton for the first time. This is a shout out to all of my brothers and sisters in Luton. My advice to myself and all of you is to always be conscious of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and to realize that we will have to answer for all that we do. So be conscious of Allah, practice your faith with ihsan, be good to everybody out there and love the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, study his seerah and try to be as righteous as you can. Every day is a new day. Every beginning is a new beginning. Every dawn is a new opportunity to come closer to Allah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala cause us all to live as righteous Muslims and to die as righteous believers. Jazakumullah khair. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
अगर आप सोशल हाउसिंग में रहते हैं और मसाइल हैं तो वो जवाब हासिल करें जिसके आप मुस्तहिक हैं। आपको मसाइल की इत्तला देने का हक हासिल है और आपका एहतराम किया जाएगा। कानूनी तौर पर आपके मालिक मकान पर लाजिम है कि वो मसाइल का मुनसिफाना और मौसर तरीके से जवाब दे। अगर आपको मुनसिफाना जवाब नहीं मिलता तो आप हाउसिंग ओम्बड्समैन से बाज़ाब्ता शिकायत कर सकते हैं। हर एक को एक महफूज घर का हक हासिल है। मज़ीद मालूमात के लिए gov.uk/social housing पर जाएं।
Did you see that guy on TV?
What, that no comment guy?
Yeah, he was sick. What was his name?
I think it was Atiq Malik.
Yeah, Atiq Malik of Liberty Law Solicitors. Atiq Malik heads up the criminal law team at Liberty Law Solicitors, specialising in everything from serious crime down to road traffic offences.
To find out more or for a free telephone consultation, call 01582 459955.
Liberty Law, there when you need us most.
Since October 2023, Gaza faces unprecedented challenges. Muslim charity dedicated to Gaza for a decade steps up in trying times. Clean water, hot meals and vital medical aid. Your support can deliver hope. £50 for emergency food, £70 for 20 meals, £150 for clean water and £200 for essential medical aid. Unite at muslimcharity.org.uk/Gaza or call 03000 111 786.
From the studios of Inspire FM, the time is now 10:30.
Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to the Book Club show on Inspire 105.1 FM. My name is Imrana Mahmood and on today's show I have the wonderful Sam Hussain with us and we are talking about Mindful Henna but also talking about the power of arts and creativity, especially for us women who are really, I guess, exploring self-acceptance, self-love, perhaps wanting to start a journey of healing, or maybe we've been a bit afraid to start that journey, and what might be a good way to kind of think about these things I think is really important. In the first half of the show, we spoke to Sam about some of her childhood inspiration in terms of books and authors. So I'm just going to go back to talking a little bit about books and ask Sam, what are some of the books or authors that kind of are inspiring you at the moment? And I guess there's always these three things that I tend to ask. Is there a book that you have that you've read most recently, are currently reading, and do you have one on your to-be-read pile? And then I've kind of mishmashed lots of questions in there, so you're free to answer those however you like and whatever's easier.
Okay, so the recent one that I have read is called The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho. Quite inspiring, actually. There's lots of kind of spiritual aspects in there, and also kind of self-belief. I think I definitely learned more about believing in yourself and following your intuition and your heart. And as women and girls, I mean, this is our superpower, God-given gift of intuition. Use it, tap into it, nourish it, grow it. By believing and trusting, that gut feeling, really important. And another book that I'm actually reading at the moment is called Think Like a Monk by Jay Shetty. It's an amazing personal development book. I think there's a lot of concepts in there that are definitely remind me a lot of Islamic spirituality and how you can be more spiritually, increase your knowledge, your self-awareness, your God consciousness and things like that. Even though it's not written by a Muslim, I think you can definitely take inspiration from other people outside the religion, because everyone's journey has something to give you, something that you can learn from them. And what more so that you don't have to make mistakes and you can learn from someone else's experience before that and take guidance. So yeah, I think those two are the books. And also Kingdom of the Heart, I can't remember who it's written by, but it's an amazing book about knowing the state of your heart and how that affects the rest of your body and your mental health and your emotional well-being and your spiritual well-being. So that's an amazing book that I've also started reading, which got recommended by this beautiful spiritual poet online on Instagram that I found, and it's incredible.
I hadn't actually come across that. I've just quickly had a look. Is this it says Habib Umar bin Hafiz? Is that?
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
Amazing. Oh, I'll have to look into that. That sounds beautiful. And again, what a brilliant kind of set of books. I mean, I've read The Alchemist. Actually, we read it part of book club a few years ago, and really interesting discussions around the kind of the storyline itself, and like definitely the spiritual aspect of it. And again, this idea that how much literature is out there in some regards, which is inspired by Islam itself, and the kind of the spirituality we find within like our religion, and I guess the influences. But again, and I think it's beautiful to see when you are able to take from others, and there's definitely something really lovely about that. And I haven't read what's this one, Think Like a Monk. I've heard of it, but I've not read that. So that's that sounds again really really interesting. So are you kind of what makes you pick up a book? Is it something that you just read a blurb, or do you tend to read through recommendations?
So some of it is through recommendations, like you must read this book.
Yeah,
it's really, and most of them are actually geared towards self-development and awareness. I think like Rumi says, the one who knows himself knows God. And I always wondered when I first read that quote what that meant. And it's a journey. It's a long journey, and I think there's something there that once you are connected to yourself physically, emotionally, mentally, you know who you are, what your values are, where you belong, why you are here for, and where you are going. That kind of self-awareness. And it takes you on a different way of living and finding joy and happiness and contentment in things that you would normally overlook. Because we're such a goal-driven society, you have to achieve this to be valued. You have to, be at a certain status, right? It's all about status. But I think the fact that when you are comfortable in your own skin, mind, and heart, and you are connected to Allah, you're doing your best, and you are being merciful towards yourself. Like us as Muslim women, specifically, we are so giving. We have the biggest of hearts. But when it comes to us making mistakes, we do not forgive ourselves. Allah forgives us, but we do not forgive ourselves. And I think that only comes from self-awareness. If you are aware of your thought patterns and your behavior patterns, if you keep on making the same mistakes again or going through similar trials, why is that? What is there in here that I need to change in myself so I don't have to go through this situation again? And that comes from self-awareness. And I think that's why it's so important, more than ever before, in the times that we are living, to develop self-awareness. And, you know, Mindful Henna has been part of that journey of self-awareness of like, okay, what am I doing? Who am I doing this for? What's the reason here? You know, I want my ladies and girls to love themselves for who they are, how Allah has created them. And, you know, and I believe everyone has a gift inside them, like a little treasure box, and they have to go and open that treasure box and find out whether they're a writer, whether they're, you know, the best cook out there, whether they are, you know, a community leader, whether they are the next, you know, Kandinsky, the next Banksy. You know, go and find that within you. And that only comes from self-awareness and being curious and exploring ideas that come up, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. No, and again, I think it's so important because you spoke about it a bit earlier on, I think in the first half of the show, the idea of some of us having that kind of inner critic and how loud that can be, and actually especially as women, you know, how we can manage that. You know, again, this idea of self-awareness, and it was going to bring me on to the next question, and again, because self-love and body positivity is a massive part of what you kind of explore through your creative work. And it's also something, you know, of recent years I found a lot gets spoken about on social media as well. So what do you think are some of the challenges that women are facing? And I guess, again, specifically to South Asian, you know, Muslim women perhaps, in terms of this idea of self-love and body positivity, the messages we're getting through social media, and I guess what are the creative outlets that can kind of, help us maybe manage that as well?
I think, first of all, it's really important to have conversations about body positivity within our circles, within our communities, to have, you know, creative workshops. And it can be anything. So, for example, I've even used henna as a medium to explore entrepreneurship, getting to talk, Muslim women to talk about setting up their business, following their passion. You know, if they like doing something, if they're good at it, how can they go about turning that into a business? So it's about using different tools to have, first of all, conversations. Number two, being open to actually accepting the fact that this is a problem, you know, that we do have low self-confidence about our body because, you know, what do you see on magazines? What do you see on media, you know? And especially as a Muslim woman, more so when we are trying to practice modesty, it does affect your confidence, you know, how you are received by the community, inside the Muslim community and outside. And I think just, you know, actually having the conversations and using tools to further set targets, set goals, you know, where we talk about, okay, how can we actually live a healthy lifestyle? What choices can we make on a daily basis or a weekly basis or within our family system that can help us to live a more healthier life, you know? And for example, if you are a plus size woman or girl, you know, look into that. Why is it? Is it because you're emotionally eating? Because you need some, you know, you need to go and get some support, you know, to express your emotions? Because a lot of emotional eating happens due to suppressing our emotions as girls and as women. And we kind of compensate that with overeating. And sometimes we don't even realize we're doing it, you know? And again, going back to self-awareness, okay, I'm doing this, I put this weight on, why? You know, is it a medical health condition? You know, that self-care routine. Go and get yourselves checked up. Go and get your bloods done. You know, our South Asian community girls are so low in iron. We're always on iron tablets. And trust me, I was one of them myself. Really hard to actually digest them because they give you really like digestional issues, tummy like cramps and things like that. Not very pleasant. Metallic taste in your mouth and all of that. So just being aware, I think, also, and reaching out for support, you know, actually, and coming to events also. When somebody, you know, you see an Asian lady or some organization or network or group running body positivity sessions, please go and attend. Make time for yourself, you know, take it as a form of learning. Even if you are the only person there in that networking event or a group or a class, it does not matter, because you are learning not just for you, but for your whole generation of women and girls, and for your boys and men also, because you can come home and educate them, you know, that look, you need to speak nicely to each other, you know. Look at the beautiful character of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, you know, how he sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to speak with kindness and softness, and you know, it is said, speak what is good, otherwise remain silent. So even as sometimes women, I think we can say things, just one comment can actually send another person into a full-blown depression. because we made them feel, oh, look how you're looking today, this and that. So I think just being self-aware and just having conversations and actually using whatever creative gift you have to talk about self-love, to talk about being kind to yourself, talking in a kind way to your body, especially if you are, a mum, or you've had a baby, or you've gone through surgery, or you have a health condition, to really, support each other, say kind things to each other, acknowledge each other, so we feel seen and heard and respected for who we are. And I do find like some of our young ladies, bless them, they do lack self-confidence. I was one of those young teenager girls, and this is why I'm really passionate about body positivity and just trying to be a good person in how you communicate with other people. If you are truly concerned, please go and pray for them. And also in terms of creativity is to actually use whatever you can to have the conversation, connection, community. Those 3 things are so important in getting through any issue that we face. And also, I think to just stick to your values as a Muslim woman or girl. There's a reason why we cover up. There's reasons, or many, for self-respect. Know who you are and how worthy you are of respect and love and nourishment for your body, for your mind, what you are watching, what you are listening to, the words that you are speaking is all kind of energy. Is it good energy? Is it bad energy? You can be the judge of that. But knowing how you communicate and how you are navigating, I think is really important. And supporting women that are trying to pave a path or talk about body positivity, it's so important, because sometimes, when women do have the courage to stand up, lead, create something, they may not get the necessary support in people turning up to those sessions, or people just criticizing, not knowing what the intention is here. Come and get involved, ask questions, be curious. Okay, you're doing this, why? What's the reason? Okay, if you need any help, let me come and help you. Inshallah, and it's sadqa jariyah.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And you've kind of covered so many important things there. And I think, because I think it does happen sometimes. You take an initiative, it almost feels like you're getting shut down, like very, very early on, instead of maybe having those kind of conversations and that engagement. And I think such an important part. And again, we spoke a bit earlier about that. What does it mean when we say, being in solidarity with one another? That, absolutely. I mean, this idea of educating ourselves, and it isn't just, it's not like an isolated action, is it? Because to educate yourself is then to really take that knowledge into your community. And like you said, whether you're a parent or even if you're not a parent, a carer, a teacher, aunt, uncle, there's so many different things. But the more we are kind of, I guess, stepping out of our comfort zone, I think is so important. And I know of course, there might be things that are uncomfortable, or we feel a sense of discomfort talking about it, but then that's where we know real change is happening. Because until we're not feeling maybe a little bit of that shift, how are we really going to then, I guess, take that forward? And I think it's really brilliant that you're, again, using all the different, I guess, art forms that you are to spread that message and build those really kind of safe spaces. And again, I mean, touching on social media, because, I have 2 daughters. I see day in and day out, the pressures on them compared to when I was younger, because obviously we didn't have social media. We had like brick phones, and you could only text each other, right? So slightly giving away my age, but, and trying to protect my girls, like they haven't quite, got a phone yet. Having said that, they still do have access, of course, to, to certain social media channels. But yeah, I see it. I've worked with young people. I've worked specifically with young girls as well. And, the more we create these spaces and time for conversations, I think, it's really, it's important that we're able to do that. And it was kind of making me think that, obviously, again, coming back to the introduction I shared when I introduced you on the show, you obviously engaging with different art forms. Okay, so obviously you've got Mindful Henna, which is really, beautiful practice that you have. But you also do a bit of street art. You sing beautifully. So you've got all this amazing kind of talent and energy, which is fantastic. I guess I just wanted to know, do you have a favorite, or is there, or is that difficult to pick? Like, what is it that you enjoy about each different one? So yeah, it was just me being curious really about you.
So a really good question, actually, and quite a hard one to answer.
I can imagine.
I love them all.
Okay.
Because I'm the kind of person that when I do something, I have to be all in it with all my heart.
Yeah.
Nothing half-hearted will suffice. And I think in terms of henna, I love creating safe spaces for ethnically diverse women to speak, to actually have space to just speak their heart and mind without judgment, without any insecurity, without, it's a safe space. And I think that's something that I feel so honored that I'm able to do. And I think we need more of it from other women, other girls who've got ideas, just go and connect, go and do it. So that's really beautiful. And I think it really, part of Mindful Henna is to improve well-being. And I think it's so important for that aspect, especially within our community, to talk about mental health, to talk about, different mental health issues. There's the rising number of mental health issues we've had since COVID in our community have risen so much. And, acknowledging that there are ways of healing outside taking, certain medication or going down certain pathways, even though, sometimes you do need medication and that's okay, but just like a more holistic approach to healing. And I think being able to just speak and connect is such a beautiful way of healing in itself, especially for South Asian women who I feel our voices are still not heard, still. And I think that led me to, start singing back in 2008. I mean, the nerves I had, Imrana, I cannot tell you. The voice didn't even come out the first time in a group of ladies. I was so scared and nervous. And then once I did that, the second time I did it, I was like, I'm fine. I'm not going to pass out while singing. And alhamdulillah, it went from there, mashallah. Like recently, I've done a couple of workshops where, soulful singing workshops where I've gotten Muslim intergenerational group of ladies to come with their daughters, their sisters, their nieces to come and write poetry and sing it as a devotional kind of poem. And that was such a wholesome, beautiful experience. And again, they're waiting on me. He's like, Sam, can you please just let me do that again? That just felt so good, I was so happy. I slept better, and things like that. So with the singing aspect of it, it's so important for us to connect to our voice, and that our voice matters. Because, sometimes it is in our culture, unfortunately, that women are kind of sometimes told like, oh no, don't say this. You can't say this. No. Just stay quiet, please, keep the respect of the family. And that's understandable in certain situations. But I think just to be able to live a more authentic life, we do need to create spaces for women to come and share their stories, their experiences, to make them feel that they are heard and seen as sisters of ours in Islam. And I think I, alhamdulillah, managed to experience that within my soulful singing sessions. And it was just so empowering to see Muslim women, mashallah, writing. They thought they could never write. And I'm like, look what you've done. You've written a whole poem about Allah and your love for Allah and how it's so important. And you've sung it, and we would put like a tune to it. You did that.
Yeah.
And that sense of empowerment, that you see that transformation happening right before your eyes. I mean, there's no words to describe that feeling of happiness and joy that, oh my God, it's just such a beautiful experience. So the singing aspect of it, and I know there are like certain different points of view about women singing. So what I tend to do is it's only for women, only spaces, and we come and express ourselves. And I think self-expression for South Asian ladies and Muslim ladies specifically is so important part of their self-awareness, healing journey, and development of their creativity. If you are a writer, even journaling, you don't have to, if you're not comfortable singing, write, write some words, write down your thoughts for the day, empty out your mind. So inshallah, next day you wake up with new. So we kind of discussed some of these ideas, how we can use writing as a form of self-expression and release of whatever we're going through at that moment. And it's a really good way of improving your well-being is to write. And singing will help you get those different stagnant energies out of your system, so there's space for more creativity, for more joy, for more opportunities to come. Because sometimes I think it can be like our mindset that we think, oh, I can't do this because I've never done it before. Oh, I'm never going to be good at this. So we limit ourselves in how we think. But if we, for example, think like, oh no, okay, this seems interesting, let me just have a go, let me just have a go at writing. And you'll be amazed at what you can write. You'll be amazed at what you can create with your hands. So, and in terms of street art, I think that was, again, something I felt in my heart I needed to do, because I needed to work on a bigger scale. So a couple of years ago, I ended up going to this spray jam, as they call it here in Cardiff. And I just turned up with nothing, no spray cans, nothing. I didn't know where to get them from. And there was me, I did it, because my background is in teaching. I had done my supply teaching day, and I was like, I'm going to this spray painting workshop. I don't know anybody. I was so nervous. I don't know who's going to be there, but I want to go. And I met the most kindest people. They gave me their pens to draw, like Posca pens, they're so expensive, to draw on walls. People passed me spray cans, and I did my first mural of painting, and I did henna designs on about a 5-yard by a 2-yard wall. And it said, "You're beautiful." So, and at that time, because it was kind of, just coming out of, actually during COVID, when it wasn't lockdown, those kind of years. And I wanted everyone to read that piece of work and just be reminded that you are beautiful just the way you are. So I painted positive affirmations on a wall for the public to see with henna patterns, because again, as a Muslim, I am an abstract artist, so I tend to do henna patterns on a wall to express my femininity as a Muslim modest woman. And I think it's such a beautiful way that I'm able to do that. I mean, to me, it seems really simple, but somebody who wants to be a spray painter or wants to get into spray painting, be like, what do I do? Where do I start from? Just go with it. Just don't be afraid. Just start doing, and whatever comes to mind, follow the inner guidance, the intuition, or whatever, shapes or whatever you're drawn to. So for me currently, as part of my street art practice, I'm actually writing in Urdu calligraphy. And my tag is Muhabbat, which means love. And this is love of all different types. We all need love. Love for God, love for each other, love for our children. We all need that energy to create, to strive, to grow, to heal, to elevate ourselves. So I am spray painting Muhabbat on different walls here, legal walls, by the way. I get that asked a lot.
We need to point
legal
that out.
Walls, yes.
Yeah, exactly. No, I love that.
That are approved by the council.
Yes.
Just to put it out there.
No, awesome. And it's so, again, this idea of how important it is to reconnect with the inner voice, the outer voice, manifesting, I guess, into the external world, and and in such a wonderful way to do that in so many, I guess, creative aspects. And I'm so grateful, Sam, for your time today. And obviously you're coming to Luton, inshallah, on 24th of February to do a Mindful Henna workshop. So people will be able to go to the River Luton Arts website for more information on that. And hopefully you can you'll be able to sign up, and we'll be able to see both Sam in her element, and again, just reconnecting with ourselves in the run up to Ramadan as well, which is be absolutely amazing. So thank you so much, Sam, for your time today. It's been wonderful speaking to you.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for having me. And I can't wait to come to Luton to do this.
Great. Okay, and listeners, so I'll be back inshallah soon with a new guest and a new show. In the meantime, please do keep us in your du'as. Assalamu alaikum.